Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went in there? Maybe you've misplaced your keys, again, or you're struggling to recall the name of an old friend you just ran into. It's frustrating, right? And maybe, just maybe, there's a little voice in the back of your mind whispering, is this just normal aging, or is something more serious going on? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Memory lapses happen to all of us, and as we get older, they can feel a little more frequent, a little more concerning. But here's the good news. Memory loss is not inevitable. In fact, science has shown that there are simple, daily habits you can adopt that will not only help keep your mind sharp, but can even reduce your risk of dementia. And the best part? You can do them right before bed. Tonight, when you're winding down for the evening, instead of worrying about forgetting things, imagine waking up tomorrow feeling clear-headed, focused, and mentally strong. It's possible, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through some simple but powerful things you can start doing every night to keep your brain young, sharp, and full of life. So, let's start with the first thing you need to do before bed if you want to protect your memory. Give your brain a proper shutdown. I know what you're thinking. What does that even mean? Well, think about it like this. When you finish using your computer or phone, you don't just leave every app running in the background, do you?
No.
If you did, it would slow down over time, get glitchy, and eventually, things would stop working properly. Your brain works the same way. If you go to bed with your mind cluttered, worrying about the news, replaying stressful conversations, or scrolling through your phone, your brain never gets the chance to fully power down and reset. And here's the real kicker. Studies show that chronic stress and poor sleep don't just make you feel foggy in the morning. They actually shrink the memory centers of your brain over time. That's right, stress and poor sleep can physically change your brain structure, increasing your risk of dementia. So how do you fix this? Simple. Before you go to sleep, take just 5 to 10 minutes to offload your thoughts. One of the best ways to do this is journaling. Now, don't worry, you don't have to write an entire novel. Just jot down anything that's on your mind. Maybe it's a to-do list for tomorrow, a few thoughts about your day, or even just something you're grateful for. This simple act tells your brain, okay, I've acknowledged these thoughts. Now I can let them go for the night. If you're not into writing, another great way to reset your mind is with deep breathing or a short meditation. Something as simple as closing your eyes and taking slow, deep breaths for just 2 minutes can lower your stress hormones and prepare your brain for restorative sleep. Now, speaking of sleep, let's talk about the next essential thing you need to do every night. Get enough deep sleep, because this is when your brain literally cleans itself. Think of your brain like a house. Throughout the day, you're constantly bringing things in. New information, conversations, things you see and hear. But just like a house, your brain also collects a lot of junk. Throughout the day, toxic waste products build up between your brain cells, including a protein called beta amyloid, which is linked to Alzheimer's disease. So how does your brain clean this up? While you sleep. And not just any sleep, deep sleep. During this stage, your brain activates a kind of cleaning crew called the glymphatic system, which washes away those harmful waste products. But here's the problem. If you're not getting enough deep sleep, this cleaning process gets cut short, and those toxic proteins start to accumulate. So how can you make sure your brain gets the deep sleep it needs? Well, one of the worst things you can do before bed is look at screens. Phones, TVs, tablets. Because the blue light tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime, delaying the release of melatonin, the hormone that makes you sleepy. Instead of scrolling through your phone or watching the news right before bed, try reading a book, listening to soft music, or dimming the lights at least an hour before you sleep. Another powerful trick. Keep your bedroom cool. Research shows that sleeping in a room around 65 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 degrees Celsius, helps trigger deeper sleep cycles. So if you often wake up feeling groggy, try adjusting the temperature and see if it helps. Now, we've covered how to clear your mind and get deep sleep, but there's another simple, surprising thing you can do every night that has been shown to strengthen memory and reduce dementia risk. And it has nothing to do with sleep. It's all about engaging your brain before you fall asleep. This might sound strange, but think about the last time you learned something new. Maybe you picked up a new hobby, tried a new game, or challenged yourself with a puzzle. Do you remember how engaged and alive your mind felt? That's because learning, especially in short bursts before bed, stimulates new brain connections and strengthens memory retention. So here's what you can do. Before bed, challenge yourself with a small mental exercise. It could be as simple as recalling 3 new things you learned today, practicing a few words in a different language, or even doing a short memory game like listing 5 things in your room and trying to recall them in order. Research has shown that this type of mental stimulation right before sleep can enhance memory consolidation, meaning your brain organizes and stores information more efficiently. And the best part? It takes less than 5 minutes. Alright, we've already covered some powerful steps: clearing your mind, getting deep sleep, and engaging your brain before bed. But there's still more you can do to supercharge your memory. Now that we've talked about the importance of clearing your mind, getting deep sleep, and giving your brain a little workout before bed, let's focus on something that has a huge impact on memory, but often gets overlooked. What you eat before bed. You might not realize it, but your late-night snacks and evening meals can either help your brain stay sharp or hurt your memory over time. You see, your brain is a high-energy organ, and even while you sleep, it's busy repairing cells, consolidating memories, and flushing out toxins. But if you're feeding it the wrong things, you could be sabotaging this process without even knowing it. Let's start with what not to eat at night. First, avoid anything high in sugar or processed carbs, things like cookies, white bread, sugary cereals, or even that innocent-looking bowl of ice cream. Why? Because these foods cause a quick spike in blood sugar, followed by a crash, which disrupts sleep and increases inflammation in the brain. Over time, high sugar intake has been linked to memory problems and even an increased risk of Alzheimer's disease. Another food to watch out for? Fried and greasy foods. I know, sometimes a plate of fries or a slice of pizza is tempting, especially in the evening. But research has shown that diets high in unhealthy fats can actually slow down brain function and contribute to cognitive decline. So what should you eat before bed to support brain health? One of the best things you can do is have a small, protein-rich snack with healthy fats. Something like a handful of walnuts, a spoonful of almond butter, or even a small bowl of plain Greek yogurt with berries. Walnuts, in particular, are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation in the brain and improve memory. Another fantastic brain-boosting option? A little bit of dark chocolate. Yes, you heard that right. But make sure it's at least 70% cocoa. Dark chocolate contains flavonoids, which improve blood flow to the brain and can actually enhance memory and problem-solving skills. Just a small square before bed can give your brain a little boost without the sugar crash. And if you struggle with sleep, consider sipping on herbal tea, like chamomile or lemon balm. Not only do they help relax your nervous system, but they also support deep, restful sleep, which, as we talked about earlier, is essential for memory. Now, here's something really interesting. Your gut health is directly connected to your brain health. Scientists call this the gut-brain connection, and it turns out that having a healthy gut microbiome can actually protect you from cognitive decline. So what does that mean for you? Well, if you want to keep your memory strong, you need to be feeding your gut the right foods. Things like fiber-rich vegetables, fermented foods like yogurt or sauerkraut, and foods high in prebiotics like bananas and garlic. And while we're on the subject of gut health, let's talk about something that a lot of people don't realize. Dehydration can seriously affect your memory. If you wake up groggy, forgetful, or feeling like your brain is in a fog, there's a good chance you're not drinking enough water. Your brain is made up of nearly 75% water, and even mild dehydration can shrink brain tissue and slow down the communication between brain cells. So, before you go to bed, make sure you're hydrated. A small glass of water, or even better, a cup of warm herbal tea, can make a huge difference in how your brain functions the next day. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. I get it. The key is timing. Try to drink most of your fluids earlier in the evening, and if you need a little sip before bed, just make it a small amount. That way, you stay hydrated without interrupting your sleep. At this point, we've covered a lot. How to calm your mind, improve sleep, exercise your brain, and eat the right foods. But there's one more thing you need to do every night if you truly want to protect your memory and keep dementia at bay. We've already covered some powerful steps: clearing your mind, improving your sleep, feeding your brain the right foods, and staying hydrated. But there's one more habit you need to include in your nighttime routine, and it's something most people overlook: social connection. Now, you might be wondering, what does talking to people have to do with memory and dementia prevention? Well, more than you might think. In fact, loneliness, and social isolation have been shown to increase the risk of cognitive decline by up to 50%. Yes, you heard that right. 50%. Why? Because our brains are wired for connection. When we engage in conversation, tell stories, laugh, or even just hear another person's voice, we activate multiple areas of the brain responsible for memory, problem-solving, and emotional regulation. And just like a muscle, the more you use your brain in these ways, the stronger it stays. Now, I know that for some people, socializing gets harder with age. Maybe your kids are busy, your friends have moved away, or you just don't have as many opportunities to connect as you used to. But the good news is that quality is more important than quantity. Even a short, meaningful conversation before bed, whether it's with a friend, family member, or even a neighbor, can give your brain the stimulation it needs to stay sharp. So here's something simple you can do. Make it a habit to check in with someone before you go to sleep. It could be a quick phone call, a voice message, or even a text conversation. If you live with a spouse or partner, take a few minutes to share something interesting about your day or reflect on something positive together. And if you don't have anyone to call, that's okay, too. Try talking out loud to yourself. Seriously. It may sound silly, but verbalizing your thoughts, even in an empty room, can help strengthen your brain's ability to organize and recall information. Now, before we wrap up, let's go over one last thing that can truly make a difference in your memory. Gratitude. I know, it might sound simple, even too simple, but gratitude has been scientifically proven to rewire the brain for better mental clarity, focus, and emotional resilience. Studies show that people who regularly practice gratitude experience lower levels of stress and anxiety, both of which contribute to memory problems over time. So, as part of your nighttime routine, take a moment, just 1 minute, to reflect on something you're grateful for. It could be something as small as a good meal, a kind word from a friend, or even just the fact that you're alive and healthy. You don't have to write it down, although that helps. But just thinking about it before you fall asleep signals to your brain that life is good, which helps reduce stress and supports long-term brain health. At this point, you now have a full set of nightly habits that can help keep your memory sharp and lower your risk of dementia. From calming your mind to getting quality sleep, eating the right foods, staying hydrated, socializing, and practicing gratitude, these small actions, done consistently, can make a huge difference in how you think, feel, and remember things as you age. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one habit you're excited to try tonight? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more tips on living your best, healthiest life after 60. Here's to a sharp mind, a strong memory, and a future filled with clarity and joy. Sleep well, and I'll see you in the next video.